Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. September 22nd, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was not only a statesman, a lawyer, and the 16th President of the United States. As a young man, he was also a star wrestler and not above talking some smack in the ring. In about 300 matches, he was defeated only once. And after one of his winning matches, he challenged the spectators. He yelled, "I'm the big buck of this lick. If any of you want to try it, come on and wet your horns." Nobody came, and Lincoln received an Outstanding American Award in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Lincoln's adult life is full of achievement. He led the country through a civil war, promoted national healing, and on this date, in 1862, President Lincoln signed the first order to end slavery in the United States, the Emancipation Proclamation.
Restore the individual. Be merciful, as God is merciful. It was a couple of years before the end of the Civil War, and one after another, a parade of people visited President Abraham Lincoln. Some wanted their relatives who had been charged as spies to be saved from execution. Some just wanted a day pass to visit their husband in jail. Lincoln listened to them all. On September 7, 1863, a young Mrs. Thomas Theophilus Brown came to see the president. With her baby in her arms, she had traveled all the way from Alexandria, Virginia, which was now in Confederate territory. She had already been to the War Department looking for help for her husband and his brother, but no one would help her. Mrs. Brown begged to be allowed to tell her story, and Lincoln obliged. The young woman was given all the time she needed by the patient and caring president. She told how her husband and his brother had been at the Battle of Gettysburg, and they had been arrested as spies and imprisoned in the old Capitol prison. They had been in prison for weeks, and now they were saying the men were going to be shot. Mrs. Brown could not hold back the tears. She explained that they had never been on the side of the Confederate Army and always been loyal to the country, but they had been drafted and forced to fight. Lincoln must realize her men were no spies. She had hoped he would somehow save them. The whole time she talked, the baby girl Mrs. Brown was holding had been watching the president and smiling. Enjoying the tender moment, President Lincoln asked to hold the baby and brought her close. As he was holding the baby, she spoke the word, "Papa." The president laughed and placed the baby back into Mrs. Brown's arms. For a moment, he was silent. Then he began to pace back and forth. Finally, he stopped and wrote something on a slip of paper. "Mrs. Brown, you are a brave little woman," he said warmly, and handed the piece of paper to her. She glanced at the paper, and she saw it was a letter for the prison. In it, Lincoln had written, "This lady says that they were conscripted into the rebel army and were never for the rebel cause, and they are now willing to do anything reasonable to be at liberty. This may be true, and if true, they should be liberated. Please take hold of this case and do what may seem proper in it." Within 3 days, the men had taken the oath of Union allegiance, and Thomas Theophilus Brown and his brother walked out of the old Capitol prison. Mrs. Brown kissed her ragged and shaggy husband, trembling with fever and nerves, his feet torn and scarred. She took them back to Alexandria and nursed the men back to health before she told her husband about the tall man his daughter had called Papa in the White House. While the North was squeezing the South toward its last loaf of bread and final bullet, Lincoln looked to the day when it would be an advantage to have a political record free from vengeance. In Proverbs 3:27, God tells us, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to act." Mercy is a choice. Is there anyone in your life who deserves mercy from you and you are holding it back from them? Choosing to extend mercy could change your life as well as someone else's life. Restore the individual. Be merciful as God is merciful.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." Join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.